Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Souraya Nasser, and my journey in Toastmasters started in 2014 when I joined Speakers and Leaders. Later on, I moved to Protost after graduation, and about that time, the area team approached me with the idea to open a new club in Lebanon. And I was so excited about this opportunity because it will help me improve my leadership skills even further. I accepted this responsibility, but in the beginning, things were very difficult for me because I had to do a lot of things and I could not juggle between all of the different things that I needed to do. So that was when I started to build a team to help me finish this goal and charter this club in the shortest time possible. And once this team was ready, we were able to charter in a few months, even in the toughest situations that the country was going through. And that shows us the importance of teams. Teams are very important to help you achieve your goal as a leader. And that's why today I want to talk about this. I want to show you the benefits of teams and how to build teams, what is the best way to do it, and how to plan it. Having a team is just like having a library like this one. In this library, you have several books that talk about different things. And the same applies in your team. You have a lot of team members, which means a lot of brains with different experiences and different skills. And this is an asset for you as a team leader because every time you're faced with a problem, you will have several different options and several different ways to solve this problem using the skills of your team members. And I guarantee you that these ideas and these solutions will be very creative because there is diversity in your team. In addition to that, there are some benefits that you could benefit from as a leader. When you have a team, you have less time to spend on micromanagement and supervision, and more time to set a plan and to set the vision that the team will be working on. Step number one is to select your team. Well, of course, every team needs team members, and it's not rocket science. But the thing is, you shouldn't be selecting any team members. You need the right team members. And the right team members, they share a lot of qualities. The qualities of good members are numerous. But today I will be focusing on four qualities because these four qualities that I'm going to mention, they will help you later on cultivate other good qualities in your team members, and you will be doing that as a leader. So you need on your team to have passionate collaborators who are motivated to work hard. So passion, collaboration, motivation, and hard work. The combination of these four qualities does miracles in your team. Because later on, as a leader, you will get the chance to lift the team members up and cultivate competence in them if they're not experienced. And it will help you cultivate reliability among your team members. And the thing is, I know that a lot of people tend to prefer recruiting experienced members in their team because it's easier for them because basically experienced members, they know what to do. But the thing is, having a new member who has no experience or a little experience and then shaping this member and teaching them all you know is a very rewarding experience and it will give you some benefits later on in the team. Because basically, an inexperienced member who is being trained by you is a blank page. You can do miracles with this member and you can teach them a lot just the way you want them to learn. Also, they will have a lot of room to get creative. An experienced member is usually influenced by the experience of the people he works with or she works with. But when the member is new, they have no previous background of what they're about to do. So if they can get a lot more creative than experienced members. So definitely make sure to include in your team people who are experienced and some who are still fresh so that you can have this balance between them. And that's it. The team is ready. Now, let's go to step number 2. Our team is ready. But what's next? Now it is time for you, as a leader, to set the goal and the vision that the team will be following. After you define this goal and vision, you need to meet up with your team members to set up specific goals for each and every one of them. Those goals should be tailored to what the role in the team is. Now, this is very important because it helps you as a leader delegate tasks, smaller tasks, to these members, and it will help you get to your goal by dividing and conquering your problems. Another thing to remember when you're doing that is to involve the members themselves in the process of coming up with the vision, the specific vision, and the specific goal that they will be following. Now, we usually do that for one very important reason, and that is to give them sense of ownership of what they're doing. This will help them become more motivated, and they will in return give more passion to what they're doing and come up with better solutions that are more creative than when you set the vision yourself. So make sure that you involve them and you give them the correct amount of motivation for them to get you one step closer to what you want. How will the team communicate? How should problems be solved? Who has the authority to decide? What are the core values that your team members should follow before making any decision? How will you, as a team leader, monitor their progress and how much? And finally, how will the team be assessed? All of these are very important questions that should be answered before starting with any plan that you have in mind, because they will make the process and achieving your goals much easier among your team members. And they will help them know who will be making what decisions and how will they go on and achieve their tasks. Jenga is one of my favorite games to play with my friends. To play this game, you need to remove one block from the bottom of the structure and place it on the top of the structure without it collapsing. And in order to win this game, you need to identify two things. First, you need to know which block is independent and can be removed, like this one. And you need to identify which blocks that are dependent on one another and cannot be removed, just like this one, for example. And if you remove one block that is dependent, you will risk that this structure will collapse. The same concept applies when building a team. Your team members should realize that their roles relate to one another one way or another. They should know that they are independent, but at the same time, at some point in time, they need to be interdependent with the other roles and other members in the team. Because if at some point one of these members did not see that others depend on them, they might be making a decision that will risk the collapse of this team. As a software developer, I like to use the divide and conquer method to solve my problems. However, you don't need to be a software developer to use that. You can apply it to any goal you want. You just get your goal, divide it into smaller parts, and plan these small parts ahead of time. This way, you will be able to assign different roles and responsibilities to your team members based on their specialization and fields of interests. You should remember one thing while doing that, and that is it is okay to delegate. And in fact, delegation is a very important skill that you and your team members need to learn when to use. Because all of us have 24 hours per day, and at some point, we might not finish on time or we might need the help of others to do that. So feel comfortable delegating responsibilities among your team members and encourage it at some point. Also, you need to remember one thing when you are planning for your team members, and that is plans are not made to be fixed. Plans should adapt with time because we live in a variable universe and things might change. And the smallest example of this is the situation in Lebanon. We were living happily and peacefully, and all of a sudden, revolution strikes. And then after that, Corona strikes. And then we find ourselves quarantined for the next 3 months at home, not knowing what to do. Now, the smart companies were able to realize that the severity of the situation early on, and they planned ahead of time a crisis management plan for their employees to work from home. So by the time we got to the quarantine, some companies were fully functional from home and their productivity increased instead of decreased. So have a plan, divide the tasks among your members and delegate to them the responsibilities, but also make sure that your plan is adaptable. So now you have a team and you have a plan that's ready for implementation. But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one thing, and that is to trust your team members. As team leaders, we usually fear trusting our team members with decisions because we fear that they might not make the correct decision. But why recruit them on your team if you're not willing to trust them in the first place? You could just simply do things on your own. When you trust your team members, you hand them the responsibility of their own actions. You make them accountable for the decisions they make. This will make them more cautious whenever they want to do something or make a decision because their actions will be affecting the entire team and the entire people on it. In addition to that, they will be happy when they are doing the tasks that you assign them to because they will have the sense of ownership. So make sure that you trust your team members and you listen to them actively to what they have to say and make sure that everybody's voice is heard because people are amazing and you will be surprised with the creativity and with their performance once you trust them. Your role as a leader will definitely change over time. You will start off as the person who is training the team, setting the main plan, goals, visions, all of that. And by the end of the journey, you will become more of a supervisor, just monitoring their progress from above without interference or with minimal interference and support. You will be recognizing their efforts and their achievements and assessing their performance. And you will be giving a hand whenever they need. This will be your role by the end of your journey. But you know what's interesting about this entire process and journey? Is that by the end, it is true that you will have achieved your goal, but at the same time, you will gain a group of amazing friends with whom you share amazing memories.